Drag makeup tutorial, baby. Let's go. We are starting off by popping off the shirt and having a good time doing it, popping on the wig cap, and cleaning the sides of the face with rubbing alcohol on a tissue, cleaning the jawbone as well, and the eyebrows thoroughly with rubbing alcohol. Now applying Prozaid to the temples, the cheekbone, and the jawbone on both sides of the face, and applying face tapes to all of those spots once the Prozaid dried. You could tell it's dry when it is clear. I close my eyes from now on when I pull back those face tapes, by the way, because last time I did this, it snapped and hit my eye. Blocking out my eyebrows with the classic purple Elmer's glue stick, going against the grain with the glue to make sure that it really gets in there, and then combing it out with a mascara wand, combing it up, trying to make it as flat as possible, and then adding extra layers of glue. Also adding Elmer's glue to the widow's peak and my sideburns, just to prevent any flyaways or messy things from happening while I do my makeup. And now I'm cleaning off my mouth area with rubbing alcohol and applying Prozaid, so as to apply scar wax. Now this is the idea that started this look. Each look is a little bit different in terms of a starting point. This time I started with the idea of kind of 4 sections of scar wax. A mouth split into 4. And then that evolved into everything else. So scar wax is difficult material to work with, but incredibly rewarding. You have to make sure that you mold it a lot in your fingers before you try to stick it on your face. There should be absolutely no crunchy or hard bits in it when you are done molding. It should be soft and moldable, like Silly Putty. And I just started building with this stuff. Molding and poking and prodding, adding Prozaid wherever I planned on sticking the scar wax, and then trying to blend it out into my face on both sides using my fingers. It helps to dip your finger into water when it is time to mold this stuff, because it is very, very, very sticky. I would not recommend dipping your finger into water and getting the water all over the scar wax right before you stick it onto the Prozaid. That does not end well. But when you're blending it and molding it on the face, water helps tremendously. And this was a big to-do, a big pain in the butt, really. I just went in and molded, and every now and then I would go back in with another layer of glue on the eyebrows. And then once I had a shape that I was happy with, I went in with a little tool that I stole from my brother, and added little lip-like details. It's just a little metal tool. And then patted it out to smooth over the rough edges that were created. Now I'm going in with eyeshadow and just sort of coloring the lips, just a base color to get things going. Pink on the lips and then sort of red on the inside to, I don't know, simulate gums or something. Added another layer of glue, and now I'm going in with a putty primer, a little bit extra on my nose because I have a rather porous nose, and now I'm going in with a yellow cream foundation, powdering the eyebrows, which I meant to do before the foundation, but I forgot. And going over the scar wax lips as well with the cream. Scar wax, I have noticed, seems to work best with powders, colored powders, eyeshadows, etc., rather than cream. But for cohesion reasons, I think that the cream is necessary. Going in with a Marron white stick to highlight. When I do a colored foundation like this, this is what I do. I do the dark color all over my face, and then I go in with white, and the white ends up blending with the color in a pleasing way, and that's my strategy. As of now, it might change in the future. Blending everything with the Beauty Blender, just tapping away on the edges, and melding the two colors together gradually. Same thing on the neck, and on the lips I added a little white highlight. Wasn't necessary. Went in with black. This is another Marron stick, black cream stick, and just darkening the mouth to give that illusion of a big gaping mouth hole. And now going in and working on the nose with the creams. This is just sort of laying the foundation of what will come later with the powders and blending it out roughly with my finger, and now going in and powdering my face. With a oil-based cream foundation, you must set it with powder. I use a translucent loose powder. There's all kinds of different ways to set it, but that seems to be the easiest and the most common. And just feeling with my fingers across my face to make sure that there aren't any wet spots. And now the scar wax started to pose problems. It started to fall off. It was a rough day with the scar wax. I am now going in with an eyeshadow primer. This is a white, super thick primer from P. Louise. And I just popped it all over my eye wherever I thought that I would be plopping eyeshadow. And then I started to go in with my lightest color. Now, I have since changed my strategy and started with darker colors first, but this works too. I started with a light color and blended it out pretty far, and then started going in with progressively darker and darker colors in smaller and smaller amounts, and just trying to blend it all together and create a nice, fade, nice ombre effect. Going in with black, I believe, as well, just to give a little extra accent, and powdering the actual eyelid. And I did the same exact thing on the other eye, of course. And now applying eyeliner, and I am using actual eyeliner this time. For those of you who have watched my previous videos, you will know that I have been using the Meron stick for my eyeliner. And I wanted to try to use actual eyeliner again. It had been a minute. I used to do it all the time. And I, go big or go home, right? I went for the liquid eyeliner, which is super difficult to work with. It was a huge challenge. Incredibly hard. The brush is tiny, the color is strong, and one small mistake and you are doomed. But I made it work, and did the same thing to the other side. Then I went in with translucent powder, which I will not be doing again, because it dulled the color significantly. Now working on the under eye, just adding yellow, the same stuff that I added on the top, yellow and then green, and then I think maybe a little bit of black, before I went in with the eyeliner for the bottom half that you see currently. And I wanted to do just a line, a black line, but that ended up not working out. And I ended up struggling a lot getting both eyes even, and then had to make some decisions to compensate for mistakes. Like connecting the top eyeliner with the bottom in that little Elvira triangle. That wasn't intended, but it ended up working out, I suppose. I went back in with black powder over the eyeliner, by the way, since it was so very dulled by the translucent powder. And just fine-tuning the under eye, going in with green and just accentuating that a lot. Going back into the inner corner of the eye with a white eyeshadow, the same eyeshadow primer as before, and then popping some yellow on it. I was planning on wearing yellow contact lenses, so that's why I did that. And now etching out my eyebrows. There is an old 3-dot trick for mapping out your eyebrows. You could find it on any number of tutorials, I'm sure. That's where I found it, and it works very, very well. Went in with yellow at first just to map it out, then went over it with green, just for, cohesive purposes, and then went back over that with, I think it's a black or a brown, I'm not sure, with a new brush of mine, new tiny, teeny, tiny little brush that I love, and added hairs. Or the illusion of hairs, shall we say, of course. And then went in with the Meron stick again, or perhaps it's the eyeshadow primer, but I think it's the stick, under the eyebrow just to clean it up. And had more trouble with the scar wax. Oh boy, you don't even know how much trouble I had with that stuff. This time anyway. Dusting all the translucent powder off of my face and going in with eyeshadow, various different colors, and accentuating the contour that I put in place with a cream foundation. And again, just like the eyes, starting with the lightest color and blending it out rather far, And then going back in with progressively darker and darker colors, as you will see. But for now, I'm just hitting the cheekbones, the jawbone, the neck, and that nice halo around the forehead. And here I am going back in with a darker color, much smaller amount, smaller brush, just, to add a little extra oomph, a little extra pop, a little extra depth. And just, adding it in. I think I blended it out as well. I may have cut that. And now going in with a white pressed powder. I've been using pressed powders on my entire face, and I enjoy it a lot. It's much easier. Going in and working on the nose. This is when the nose comes to life. The powder. Every time, the powder makes all of the difference. Just etching it in and then blending it out. And then, just like everything else, going in with a slightly darker color in a lesser amount, and then blending it all together. And now going in and highlighting the nose with the same white pressed powder that I used on my cheeks. Adding, I believe, black eyeshadow to the inside of the mouth. I may have been adding a red eyeshadow. Didn't show up at all. Accentuating the corners and trying some colors out on the lips. I was thinking of a dark color at first, like a dark green. It blended too much with the mouth hole itself, so I started to try to lighten it up by adding some yellow, and I wasn't too thrilled. You saw me checking it out in the mirror there. But I decided to roll with it for the time being, and then I decided to add teeth, which was completely not planned at all. I just felt right at the moment, and I started rolling with the punches. Thinking back to it, I think I was happy with the green at first, but then when I added the teeth, I kind of felt like a little shop of horrors, kind of situation. So I put lipstick on. It turned the lips a nice classic red, can't go wrong with that, right? I also powdered the inside of the mouth with translucent powder. I tried to do a little, trick there, and it didn't work, and then there was a mistake on my face, so I went in and added some little tiny details to cover it up, and then I went in with a blue eyeshadow and started etching in veins around the mouth. All around it, all over the place, with my new tiny brush that I used for my eyebrow hair. I love this brush. I have been so in need of a little tiny brush like this, and I have it now, and I'm so thrilled. Watching an exorbitant amount of Bob Ross helped a lot with this, by the way. Just that shaky hand to get that tree branch-like thing. And now bruising around the mouth with purple eyeshadow, blending it out. And now working on the body. And for my body, I have been using of late a water-based paint. I have one in black and I have one in white. I'm still getting used to it, as you can see. I'm trying to figure out the correct consistency and blah, blah, blah. But it's so much easier. It covers things so much quicker, and it washes off beautifully, of course. And adding a cream gold foundation, I was winging this completely. I had no idea what I was going to do going into it, and this seemed right. It seemed like a good idea, the gold triangular situation, going off of the neck that I had built in already. And just filling everything in with the black water-based foundation. Trying not to get it on the cream, but the two don't mix together, which is great. And going in with a white water base. This did not work out too well. My plan was to highlight everything and have it look really neat and tidy. It did not look neat and tidy at all. It looked actually rather horrible, but what can you do? Now bruising the neck area to kind of try to make it look as if the costume, quote unquote, the black triangle stuff, is squeezing me. And adding veins as well, and spraying down the face, one of my favorite things to do. It's so satisfying. And just working on the eyes a little bit more underneath the eye. I always love accentuating it a little extra at the end of the day. And going in with a shimmer to the cheekbones, underneath the eyebrows, a little bit on the forehead, and just sort of blending it out. And then, of course, the center of the nose and a little dot on the nostrils. And now it's time for the eyelashes, which are always so tricky. I don't know. I don't know if it's me or if it's the lashes I bought, but boy, oh boy, do I have a hard time getting these on my face. Pop them on, pull them off, pop them on, pull them off, put another one on, pull the first one off, blah, 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 and over and over and over again until they are right. And now going in with a lip gloss. I cannot seem to do without it. And now applying blood with a toothbrush. This is an old classic makeup trick. Splatter the blood all over your face with a toothbrush, running your fingers across the bristles, taking a Q-tip and letting blood drip naturally down my neck from the mouth area to make it look like, I don't know, I just ate something. Going in with blood gel to add a little extra, like, darker, goopy blood effect. And that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and here is the final transformation.